Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 63 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddies / co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. And everybody, I need everyone to go into the comments and let Noah know that he is an absolute piece of work for beating up on a little girl last Friday at Armory.
100%. I would do the same.
I leave town for a single weekend and
Noah's beating up little girls at Armory, man.
I totally opt off the top for Red in the Ledger, left it on top, laced it up, and just shot it straight at it. Yeah, I did. no care in the world was against KO. So Azalea v KO is already a little interesting, but
more specifically against my 14-year-old daughter. That's why I'm making the joke. Just so there's some context, he wasn't out there actually throwing elbows on little children. I don't know what he does in his spare time off camera.
What was
You'd
she
have to
playing?
ask him about that. But she was playing my extra KO deck.
Okay.
It was controlled.
I mean, Red and Ledger
Needless to
isn't
say.
necessarily that big of a deal. Yeah.
I mean, if you're throwing tall, no, but it's more of a agility-focused build, so...
First turn was wild, though. We'll get to that. But like I said, I wasn't necessarily playing a very laid back. It was more like Azalea did and Azalea did. And I just let the deck run it. I didn't try any finesse stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really fun Armory, actually. I
had a great time. It was a good time to sling some cards.
First time I've gone 3-0 in a while. And then last night I went to the Tuesday Armory and went 2-2. So, win some, you lose some.
So, yeah, my weekend was calling Chicago. It was pretty cool, too.
Yeah, you had the best weekend, I'm sure.
So, the food was incredible. The weather was better than I thought it was. I probably could have gone without taking a carry on the Frontier. By the way, I'll never fly Frontier again.
Don't.
Customer service, fine. Plane, fine. No amenities. And they also make you pay the extra money for a bag. And so by the time I paid for a bag, I could have just flown Delta and then I could have had a phone charger and like watched a movie. But literally Frontier was like a soup can with chairs in it. It's just,
oh man,
there's nothing wrong with it. It wasn't uncomfortable, but if I'm going to pay that much, I might as well just fly Delta. I guess if you're just going on with a small book bag, you're good. But anyway, yeah, just fly Delta, guys. Anyway, but once I got there, it was great. I rode the metro, one of the metro trains over, and then decided to get off basically early and then do it like a 3-mile walk through the city because it's just something I enjoy doing when I go to new cities and the weather wasn't too bad. So I walked all the way from the Blue Line over to the convention center and I got to go walk by the park and everything. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. We went out to like a hot pot place the first night we were there. And
nice.
Hot pot.
Man, dude, I put some ramen noodles in the hot soup and we pulled them out and I was eating them. And dude, it was so spicy that I like started to pass out and I just kept eating them. And I was drinking water and my water was spicy.
Yeah,
because the way they like make it, the soup work, right, is they use a bunch of chili oil. Mm-hmm. So when you pull the noodles out of the soup, there's just oil all over them and you're eating the noodles and they're delicious. But dude, everything was spicy. And I drank some soju too. So that like euphoria of the heat plus soju, I was just tripping. And then I was sick the next day during the first couple rounds of the calling because I ate too much spicy food. It was okay. I got through it. The calling. So our testing group tested very heavily into OTK Florian. And most of our testing group either took Prism or OTK Florian, which is funny because the reason I did poorly was because we kind of just gave up the Prism matchup and then I hit Prism on round 2 and round 3 and they were basically auto losses with the list I took in. Really unfortunate because if you guys followed the calling at all, it was full of Starvos at the end.
Yes.
And all we had to do was just get someone in there to beat up on all the Starvos because the deck was very heavily teched to just rip Starvo apart. And it did. The deck was just great at ripping Starvo apart. So that was basically my calling. I did make a huge misplay in round 4, which took me out of day 2. Round 4, which took me out of day 2 contention. No, round 5. Round 5. I did the Cardinal Runeblade OTK Sin. I broke Scalata and then played Mordor Tide. instead of playing Mordred Tide than breaking Scalata. And if anyone knows that interaction, I blew my reduction on my non-attack action on the 0-cost Mordred Tide.
Yeah.
So immediately lost that round. It was basically my only real misplay of the entire weekend. It felt really bad. I was really mad at myself for the whole evening. We went to this like weird restaurant that said it was Mediterranean, but it was all kind of mix of things. Food was so incredible that I completely forgot about my bad evening. We actually went again a second time, and the desserts were so good that Aaron Grace went there and got dessert as an appetizer, then got dinner, and then got another dessert afterwards.
Nice.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, dude, the food, this was right next to our hotel. So it's like, it was like not even a 5-minute walk. I think it was a 50-foot walk from our hotel.
Wow.
So it was the hot
sick.
pot place. The hot pot place was actually right next door. So, but
Convenience. Hell yeah.
so calling was fine. We had a couple people make it day 2. The Prisms out of the group did better than the Florians, like I said, which is really unfortunate because it was so Starvo heavy. Prism can struggle into Starvo. So we, as a group, we could have done better, but it was okay. I think we could have teched better because I did. I went and looked at the deck and reanalyzed the deck, and I'd seen another Florian player playing some tech into Prism. And I said, you know what? I'm going to play in the Battle Hardened tomorrow, and I'm going to tech for Prism. I'm not going to just sit down and have an auto loss to a Prism. And not only is it not an auto loss, I like the couple to test games I played with it, I just surgically destroyed the Prism. So I teched for the Prism and then play in the Battle Hardened and don't see a single Prism. I'm just like, what is going on? Round 1 chain, actually get a win. That's a hard matchup. Round 2 chain, get absolutely high rolled and lose. Not a big deal. Round 3 Lexi, destroyed her. I think that's just an easy matchup for Florian. You're gaining a lot of life. You're blocking a lot. All you have to do is just survive the couple high roll turns that she could have with Rain Razor, which played all 3 Rain Razors and I was still alive, so the game's pretty much locked, and it was. Round 4 was against let's see. Where was my other loss? Okay, Chain round 1, I won. Chain round 2, I lost. Lexi round 3, I won. Charles Dunn, I think, round 4, which that match was incredible because it was against a Starvo, so I felt pretty favored. But man, super aggressive. And Charles Dunn is all about math. So he wasn't throwing on hits or anything. He was mainly just hitting me with red earth 7 damage. So he would go 9, go again, and then somersault the card back to his hand and throw it for 7. So it's just 9 into 16. 9 dominate into 16, into 6 or 7. So 16 over and over again, 16 over and over again. Oh, man, I'm getting beat up. I'm playing my CYBs, trying to build up the rune chance and everything, and I'm getting super low, and I throw out a red CYB. And just for some context, he had used Crown of Seeds every single turn. And I'm joking, like, I'm giving you free Crown of Seeds value this turn because I just need to get rid of this card. And I zapped him with the stick. And he goes, AB1. And I go, what? Okay. The next turn, I stick him again. He goes, AB1. And he's kept the arsenal. He's been Crown of Seeds in every turn. We're already on like turn 13 or something. And then I go, all right, CYB. And he goes, poison the well. I'm like, oh, that's what it was. And so yes! he poisoned the wells me, and I go to 1 health.
Oh my god.
And then the next turn I go to like 22 health.
Nice.
and play a Thistle Bloom.
Mm.
And then build up a bunch of rune chants and kill him with exact damage with felling the crown.
Wow.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so picked up a win against Charles Dunn, and trying to remember what my second loss was. I lost 2 times because I didn't make it the top 8. If I would have went X and 1, we would have been in top 8. It was a pretty small battle hard in X2. I think there's only 1 X2 that got in top 8. Then my last round, finally got a Prism. Sat down across from the guy. Clearly we're neither of us are in top 8 contention because we're already X2 at that point, and only like the best 1 or 2 X2s are going to get in. And he thinks it's going to be an easy game, like free elo, right? And I sit down and I reveal my weapon, and it's a Duskblade. And he's just like, okay. He starts doing his normal game plan. He like throws a herald and then plays an aura. And I go, okay, I'll use grass, make a rune chant, and then Duskblade your aura. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he starts throwing lots of heralds at me and not putting out any auras. And I just block and build up rune chants. And then he plays one aura and I immediately pop all 9 rune chants and Duskblade him and blow up like 2 spectral shields. And he goes, oh. Because he took 7 damage and I cleared his aura and I cleared all his spectral shields. And he said, I did not even think about this when I sat down to play Florian, that this could even be a thing. And I'm like, yeah, man, it plays really well. So what I did to my list is I just took like some cards out, like Plow Under, for example. That card went. And I put in Red Autumn's Touch, Yellow Autumn's Touch, Red Summer's Fall, and Duskblade, and Blue Summer's Fall as just a base blue. And funny enough, that like completely changes the matchup.
Is that
9 poppers
because of the pop? I was gonna say poppers plus the free poke with the arcane damage behind it.
Dude, you're basically playing almost CC Florian. In my testing, I think I broke a Scalata for 2. Just to add 2 to a Germinate. Because that's all I ever had. Like, because every turn I was making rune chants and popping an aura.
And then popping, yeah.
So
good way to control.
It is incredible because like one of the ways Old Prism like overwhelms people, right, is she'll play a herald and then drop an aura. And then that aura just builds up momentum.
Right.
So, but Florian can say, okay, I'm going to make a bunch of rune chants, pop the aura, and then all the rune chants come in and threaten your life total. So you're able to hit the aura and hit their life total with 1 action point. And it just works super well. Like that's the list. If I go to another LL tournament, this is the list I'm going to continue tweaking. I think you're hurting your mirror match a little bit, and chain is kind of hard, but you don't just absolutely have a 0%er into Prism, which felt really bad when round 2, round 3 of the calling, I ran into Prism.
And that that works with Spectre too, right? Even if you're hitting a Spectre aura, just because of the way it's worded.
The rune chants come in first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They do actually. Yeah, they do come in first.
And then you pop the aura and lose your action point.
Wow, that's so good.
So good.
Even by like design, it like feels good to that. That layered damage is so hard to block.
Yeah, it's so strong because then if they go, oh man, my auras are getting destroyed, I'm not going to play them. I'll go, okay, I'll just build up more rune chants.
Right. For the next, yeah.
And so if they don't ever play any auras, I start doing the rune chant machine. So then I'm just blocking a generic aggro deck of 7 into 7, which isn't even a big deal. Like, I can out heal 7 into 7 because eventually they're like, okay, I'm going to throw this like Miraging Metamorph. I'm like, okay, that's just 7 with no on hit. You don't even get to make a spectral shield out of it. I guess I'll take it, gain 14 life, and make 15 rune chants. That kind of thing. And it works really well.
Feels good.
So why Duskblade? Why not another weapon?
You could do Rosetta Thorn, but Duskblade kind of gets into the opponent's head. And the reason you can't even do this strategy if you were in CC, because you don't have a 1-cost weapon in CC that doesn't ruin the entire deck, because you can't play Reaping Blade. I mean, you only have 6 CYBs in CC as well, but I'll tell you, the blue ones are the spicy ones. You think those are the bad ones. They did a good job banning those, because the way the deck plays is a lot of times you're pitching the blue ones. Your huge Thistle Blooms you play at the end of the game are always like blue CYB, Thistle Bloom for like almost 20 rune chants. So, I remember the second person I lost to, and I can't believe I forgot this. It was Pat Eggshe. And there is a post on Twitter, if you go and look, that's saying, Flesh and Blood the way James White intended it. And that's actually a picture of Damien, who was on Florian for the Battle Harden, and Pat. And that's because Pat had like 180 rune chants, and Damien also had like 120. And they were basically in a stalemate where neither of them could win, because on his really big turn that was going to overwhelm Damien, he like triple rippled away at him to make it so his combo turn made no rune chants.
Ooh.
And so Pat's cool thing, and the reason why he could not lose to the mirror, and he won almost every mirror, is he was doing this combo where on the turn you play the really fat Germinate for like 20 or 30, he would use Mage Master Boots so he could also play a Thistle Bloom on that turn. So he'd be like, Germinate, make 80 rune chance. Thistle Bloom, make another 40 rune chance. And so in our game, I played a Channel Millennium Tree out, and he Oasis Respited it 2 turns in a row. So I was like, I'm just going to lose. I'm going to try to tempo into him and see if I can get my hero power online. And tried to get my hero power online. It didn't really work out. And he ended up killing me with like 240 rune chance.
These numbers are insane, man.
They're unheard of.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, when you have like 80 of them, and then you play Mordred Tide Germinate, like, and then play Thistle Bloom Life, like, the numbers get really big.
If I see more than 9 or 10 rune chance in CC, I start to get real nervous. I start seeing 40, 50, 200? Really?
What's funny is
what do you even do against that?
You actually need
Die,
those numbers to
apparently.
reliably kill Oldhim. You actually need those numbers to reliably kill Oldhim. Because he's gonna he just gains a ton of life. Like, the Living Legend Oldhim deck is just all life gain with a couple high value cards, and it just relies on winners wailing people to death.
I mean, that's a strategy.
So,
golly, 200. That is insane.
And then I guess like the most notable thing after that happened is after the Battle Hardened, we played the Rosetta Team Sealed, which is super fun. My roommate for the weekend was on a team right next to me, and he opened a Marvel Rosetta Thorn.
Oh,
cracked
man,
first pack,
nice.
pulled it.
That's
Dude, and then they had everyone around convinced that they were about to cut it into thirds. And some guy came over and bought it to keep him from cutting it into thirds.
I mean, paid for the trip.
Oh yeah, he was so pumped because he was having, like, he was worried about how much the trip was costing, and then he ended up making money on the trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good for him.
That's freaking awesome. Heck yeah.
Anyway, Chicago, great city. The convention center was amazing. The food was amazing. The weather, despite being December and me being terrified it was going to be cold, it was good. So I had a
Chicago
great
in
time.
December, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. But speaking of money, how's things on the market looking?
It depends where you look, right?
I need to buy some Codex of Blood Rots, I think.
Yeah.
Do you? Well, we can start there. I think they were still around the same price. They're up, but not up since I think the last time we talked. No, they're still like $16 a piece, which is pretty crazy. But they've always been kind of surging up there. In fact, it's actually went down a little bit, if you can believe it. Its high was already over $18. So, but we finally saw it. I know sometimes it feels like we touch on the same cards, but there's just things that happen that I like to talk about. Command and Conquer is over $100 now a card. So
What?
And that's white border and non-white border. Unless this is like some Christmas stint where it's like, you want to get into Flesh and Blood, well, better find your stocking stuffers. They're going to be twice as expensive.
Dude, why is Command and Conquer so expensive?
Well, that's
it's got to be a new player surge.
Here, well, that's what we always think, but it could be an old-timey gouge is what I like to call it. And it's not me, I promise. I promise. I'm not hoarding CNCs or anything like that.
I just don't understand. It's not like the new heroes are going to especially like them. They cost $2.
I mean, it's Command and Conquer. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just to add to that, E-Strike is $60 now from Welcome to Wraith.
All right, that one deserves to be high.
And
like that one's going to be played.
$55 from History Pack. That card has actually doubled since the Art of War ban, and I'm not saying that that's necessarily what led to it, but I think that there were some decks that just put E-Strikes in, and I also just think that more decks are
the card is just ridiculously
just
versatile. I think in my Florian list for a while it was my highest blocked card, which was really funny. But because it blocks 3.
Right.
And if your hand isn't bad, it's not particularly good. But man, it's so good at fixing hands. When you draw a handful of reds, the fact that you could still present a 2-card 7 is Thumbs up. Great card.
Let's move on. Blizzard. Haven't talked about some ice cards in a while. Blizzard is, by no surprise, up to about $10 a card now. We've seen it climbing back in popularity. Don't necessarily know if it'll spike higher. Jarl's made a splash, but I don't think he's been as impactful.
I think we haven't seen really many CC events.
True,
he did get in top 8 in a CC event a few weeks ago.
That is true.
Yeah, that was a Battle Harden, right?
But I think we'll see these like red line decks come out with the Hunted, and you'll have some good play into them.
I think for sure, and I think Blizzard would be a good card into that. It's very taxing.
It pay 2 or lose your go again, and if you're missing any armor, he gives you a frostbite.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So definitely take a look at that. A card that I was actually surprised is now going up, and it had like a spike before, but it looks like it just started trending up again, and that's good because I need to jump on it. Is Stamp Authority, and I've been hoarding these for a hot minute, baby. I've been waiting, biding my time.
That card's bad.
Sitting on these. Stamp Authority is amazing, by the way. Don't let anybody tell you Stamp Authority is bad. It's a very good card. It's versatile and it's got everything we need. Stamp Authority, for those that don't know, is from Crucible. Very hard set to get, even at Unlimited. It is a block 3 blue, pitches for 3, costs 3, Guardian action aura. When Stamp Authority enters the arena, if you have 2 or more cards in your pitch zone with cost 3 or greater, your hero gains +1 intellect until the end of turn. While Stamp Authority is in the arena, attack action card effects do not trigger when they hit at the beginning of your action phase. Destroy Stamp Authority.
Like, the problem is that in order to establish this card, you probably took a whole bunch of on-hit effects to even do it. And then you said, hey, opponent, would you like to take a setup turn while still maybe dealing me a little bit of damage? And your opponent goes, yeah, thanks for not disrupting me.
Well, apparently,
I'll keep 5 cards. Sure.
Why don't you just play Truce instead?
Truce is probably going up too, but it's not Stamp Authority up. Stamp Authority is at $9, almost $10 for the normal Majestic, and they're selling for $35 first edition Rainbow Foils, and non-first edition Rainbow Foils, if I remember correctly, are up to over 15.
But that's because it's Fab 1.0 first editions. They're always more expensive.
Unlimiteds are going to be, and I'm excited. I got plenty of, but I'll be on vacation. Plenty of foil stamped authorities. Plenty of them. Wonderful. They're all sitting right back there, actually, in that stack. So go to the moon, Stamp Authority. Really, please go to the moon.
Please play good Guardian cards in your Guardian deck. You're already struggling.
They're gonna be fine. You can flash that aura in. Don't worry about that. just flash it in. It'll be the best thing you ever did.
Yes, I can see it maybe as a one of. High roll on turn 0.
Other than that, nothing super big movement wise. I mean, in terms of things that I would consider meta defining or anything like that, I don't think enough has been spoiled. I will say, from the looks of it and from things that have sold, Leave No Witnesses probably went up, and thankfully I went and actually took a look at it, because I was like, man, my Leave No Witnesses sold. My foil ones were like, and I was like, man, that was what a timing. So just went and checked it. Leave No Witnesses is now a $30 non-foil card.
Wow.
Thanks to, I guess, the Arachne spoilers really coming out and increasing that hype. It's a $40 rainbow foil, and if that is correct, then that means by design we have to go take a look at
I don't know
Surgical.
what Codex is at.
Surgical. I was gonna go to Already Dead as well.
Oh, okay.
Surgical's at 20. Coercive Tendencies at 12.
Okay.
So it hasn't shot through the moon yet. Already Dead is at 32 for the regular, and probably 40 for the rainbow foil. So not back to the $40-$60 range just yet. So the
Okay,
hype
so-
is there. Obviously, Leave No Witnesses is, I think, Leave No Witness might be the best zero cost assassin action.
If you look at the chart for Codex of Frailty, it's not honest either. Codex of Frailty just jumped up from $73 to $81 overnight.
Dang.
And that's I'm telling you guys right now, that card with the new assassin, so with Arachne popularity and the other, it will go over 100. Like, this isn't a joke.
Codex, for sure.
Blood Rot might actually go as well. Plague Hive might see an increase. So these are cards that if you're thinking about it, I think Plague Hive will, to be fair.
Already dead. I know we've talked about it before, but
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and shout that out. If you think you have any interest in the new assassin, in Arachne, and the contract stuff that is coming, get your already deads now while they're at 30. Because the last time that they were relevant, they were much, much, much higher than that, right?
Yeah, they were at least $40 or $50 for
Or they were up
non-foils,
45.
and they were at least 60 plus for the rainbow foils.
Yeah, what set did that come out in?
Bright Lights, I believe,
Yep.
right?
Those
Bright Lights.
expensive bright
Okay.
lights marvels.
It is the bright. It's weird. Some of the Bright Lights expansions are actually some of the most like worthwhile ones. It's
I mean, it
Because it
was
was
pretty
opened
wild.
a lot.
it was a good
You know, it was
set.
opened a lot in draft, but yeah,
it
it's
was
just-
it was a pretty good set. I didn't
Very
mind the set at all.
very top heavy set, I guess, would be the thing to
Also,
say.
get your emboldened blades. Some weird math in the world will make those go back up to $20. I promise. They're down to like 5-ish right now. You could probably haggle around 5, 6. So they're pretty low. But if you ever want to play warrior, especially Dory mainly, and you want to psyop and you want to get in your opponent's head and fish for that wonderful D-react that you're going to embolden blade, as Mr. Josh would say, you just know when they have it. You got to read them. You just throw it out willy-nilly and you pray. Let's be real. But you should definitely get it. It's at least a 1 or 2 of in every list. I mean, in terms of depending on what you're running, I guess. But if you're gonna play Dawnblade Dory, pick yourself them up. Well, they're cheap. I've seen them. They go up to 15, 20. Nobody knows why, but it's just how it works. Other than that, though, I'm still on the fringe what the new like speculate is. Something tells me Brute, something tells me Reinhardt. I don't know why. I just feel like they got to do something for him. So
Okay, I have a curiosity one that I want to look up live. They spoiled the Team Ascent promo a while ago, and it's Spike with Bloodrot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Spike with Bloodrot promo. What are those Armory promos at? Spike with Frailty, Spike with Inertia, Spike with Bloodrot.
I got
The
you.
ones that came out from Armory a while ago.
So Frailty 64 cents, unless it's not real. Let me see.
Are those the
Yes.
promos?
Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's actually real. So it's like $1.49 for Frailty, $2.20 for Bloodrot a
Yeah.
piece, and Inertia is $3.
So let's say it'll be
Yeah.
the Blood Rot and the Inertia ones that are the best.
Frailty probably as well, because if there's a whole lot of daggers being thrown around,
Frailty
Frailty is
is
really good against daggers.
Frailty is going to be astronomically good against these new heroes. Both the Warrior and the Ninja are going to be death by 1,000. So it's going to be lots of one pings. Assassin.
But it just, with that being the Team Ascent promo, is that the right promo?
Yeah.
It's the Team Ascent one. Okay, just want to make sure I'm not shouting out the wrong folks. If that's the promo that they're getting, that kind of makes me think that there's gonna be a use for these Spike cards. So might not hurt to get a set.
I mean, it's a 1-cost attack reaction in Arachne that potentially has already +3 coming on from the effect.
It's
like
potentially a 1 for 5 go again, right? Which is always solid. If you think about it as something that doesn't consume your action point and can
Right.
realize 5+ points of value.
Mhm.
Because if it confirms the on hit, it might be worth more, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty strong.
No. it's good. It's definitely good. They were good in limited play for sure. I think they got their place in NCC. But something tells me Brute. Don't know what it is. I'm gonna stock up on a bunch of random Brute cards like Bonehead Barrier and weird things just to have a binder full of useless cards. Bonehead Barrier, I'm telling you.
I mean,
let me have this one.
You're only like a month or so away from another useless card with the Heidner.
Don't worry.
Folder full of
prismatic ley lines and tenacities. You guys should be buying them up like hotcakes.
Speaking of prismatic ley line,
yes,
that card is cool in Chain. I got hit with a double prismatic ley line where got full value off of both of them.
Wow.
Because Chain, he just dumps a whole bunch of stuff into his banish zone, all different colors. So he's like prismatic ley line, prismatic ley line, and he threw a blue card that came in for 7. I'm like, holy crap.
Wow.
Guess what's going up already? Tenacity up to $9-10.
Yeah.
I told you it was just down to $2 or $3 a couple of weeks ago. I'm telling you.
If Ninja is good again, Tenacity gains some value.
Yeah, and with new Katsu stuff, Ira already being decent, and brand new Draconic stuff coming, Tenacity's good, people.
Did we talk about the new Katsu specialization last time, or had that not come out yet?
No, we did, because I remember us talking about being able to not only get bonds if it works that way, but as well as name other things, and so that the combat line becomes more open, because you don't necessarily have to run those pieces. You can run this.
Yeah, pretty sure we named the episode after whether or not Katsu was going to be good again.
That's true.
And
it
makes the other underwhelming Gust Wave playable.
I think the answer is probably not.
It'll be okay.
Dude, I talked to Taylor Crawford, who is a huge Katsu stan, and he doesn't think that the card's good enough to make Katsu good again. And it's a 0 for 4 blue card that blocks 3 and has the word combo on it. If that doesn't make him enthusiastic,
and go again.
dead class. All right. I mean, so we're ready to talk about spoilers, because the past week has been crazy, super exciting. We finally understand what the new Chaos Assassin hero is going to work, and how his flavor is going to be, and what chaos actually means. And it is definitely what we thought. You will be rolling d6s. So we have the second class rolling d6s. We have our new hero, Acct Marionette. 40 life, 4 intelligence. Your attacks with stealth that are attacking a marked hero get +1, and when this hits, this gets go again. At the beginning of your end phase, if an opponent is marked, you become a random agent of chaos. Your life total does not change. Chaos Assassin hero. So
this is so cool.
It was so nice of LSS to let me know what my next main is going to be. As soon as new LLs.
Dude, the flavor is so cool. Great. I mean, and they call it the Brood.
Yes.
And he gives these if you guys anyone's seen Hellsing, Hellsing Unlimited, or whatever way you've consumed Hellsing, the anime, he even gives me these Hellsing vibes, because he's got the eyes and the blood. He looks like the Legion when Hellsing releases the 0th gate and becomes Legion. That's what it reminds me of. Super cool.
Also Spawn vibes.
Yeah.
Giant red cloak. So
cool. All right. The first one that we got spoiled had a great meme to it. It was I'm a brute. I roll. You're a brute. You roll a 1 and lose your turn. I'm an assassin. I roll a 1 and I become hot. We are not the same. Arachne Black Widow, Agent of Chaos. This is your dice roll number 1. A Chaos Assassin demi hero. Once per turn, attack reaction, discard an assassin card. Target assassin attack gets +3. If it has stealth, it gets, when this hits a hero, they banish a card from their hand. At the beginning of your end phase, return to the Brood. So it looks like if you spend your turn either marking a hero or attacking a marked hero and don't manage to hit them, your next turn you're going to be one of these 6 demi heroes. These are going to be token rarity, meaning they don't take up space in your deck list, but you'll need them in your deck box, and they sit off to the side. This one in particular seems pretty strong. If you hit a hero, you banish a card from their hand. So unless you're playing against Vincent or Chain, you're going to be nixing a card out of their hand. Also, it basically turns any card in your hand into a pretty good attack reaction, right? You're perfectly on rate at 1 card to do +3, but you're doing it at instant speed, so you've got combat tricks.
Yeah, it's starting to look like a theme. Every single one of these random chaos versions is going to have a discard effect. Just the discard effect is going to change based on which Arachne is currently out.
Yeah,
I'm itching, man.
It's really cool. All right, our second agent of chaos is Arachne Funnel Web, and his attack reaction is discard an assassin card. Target assassin attack gets +3. If it has stealth, when this hits a hero, banish a card in their arsenal. This is why we need these Codex of Bloodrots. If you're Arachne Funnel Web, you play Codex of Bloodrot and then just destroy it. It's really good. Same thing with Codex of Frailty, right?
Oh.
It is good.
Oh. Don't ever try to... Wow, what are you even going to do against an assassin once Hunted comes out? How are you going to deal with this? How are you ever going to have an arsenal? How are you ever not going to have an arsenal?
Oh, I mean, you could deal with it by them just never rolling 2.
I mean, then there's some other chaosy assassin version. Like, maybe they're discarding something to get out. I cannot wait for this hero.
Like, okay, our final number that we've been released so far is Arachne Tarantula. This one says whenever a dagger you own hits a hero, they lose 1 life. Just that text alone is pretty good. Gives +1 value to all your daggers, gives +1 value to things like hurl, gives +1 value to flick knives. Very strong. Once per turn attack reaction, discard an assassin card. Target dagger attack gets +3. So this one is
a great one for closing out games.
This is a good closer. Yeah. So you discard the card, the dagger gets +3. Then if it hits, the hero loses an additional life, and then you can flick it and make them lose 2 more life. So what is that? You could spend 1 card to swing it, another card to pump it. So now you're at a 2-card 5/7 if you're willing to get rid of the dagger. And a lot of it's at like tricky reaction speed and little pings and things that can't be prevented.
I was wondering, since we're reading these effects with all the stealth cards, and I was looking it up because I'm always on the look for the next card, Infiltrate, and it is. I mean, people are speculating it, but I've always wondered to get Infiltrate a little bit more value because I think it's a good card, but it doesn't naturally have Go Again. But with Arachne, you kind of don't need your stealth card to have Go Again, and so Infiltrate's pretty nice.
I heard some interesting lore about Arachne Black Widow. That the character in Leave No Witnesses is actually Arachne.
That would track.
It's been Arachne all along. That's why they've been very insistent that Arachne is like a they or completely genderless, right? Because it turns out Arachne is a conglomeration of things or souls or people or something. The Brood. Man, I'm super excited to like get the lore for this hero and go read it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
All right, Arachne wasn't the only character that got cards. We also picked up a new warrior card. This is really interesting. It is a blue block 3 1-cost warrior attack reaction called Provoke. If you're attacking with a weapon this chain link, the defending hero reveals a card from their hand. If it's an action card, add it to this chain link as a defending card. Otherwise, they discard it. I don't think this is everything Warriors ever wanted, but I think it's getting close.
We were just talking about something almost exactly like this not too many weeks ago, weren't we?
Yeah, I think it was either last week or the week before.
What does Warrior need? What does Warrior need? And then, like, the next few days, we get this spoiled.
I said we just needed something to turn Reprise on in some way, like where we get it when we're not supposed to get it, or just a way to generate Reprise. The fact that it's an action card makes it semi-limited, so there's some matchups where it actually be really good in.
No, that's the reaction.
No, I mean, but if it's an action card, if it's so it's gonna hit a decent amount of decks. It's not gonna hit every deck, and so. It's a blue. It costs 1. I wish it cost 0, but I guess that would be wishful thinking. Yet again, but this is another problem. Is there's a tool solution for one hand, but if it's not in the right hand, then it's a wasted card. And so this is a card that kind of comes in. It costs 1. You need to have the proper cards in hand to make it work. So you're gonna park in an arsenal for a little bit.
Because
no,
even
at
if
least
you
it
play
discards
it,
a card.
even if you play it like on a completely like kind of dead hand, like you're going to hit, you're still going to rip a card from their hand. They have to lose a card. Now, to be fair, you are basically telling them to gain 3 life. You're forcing them to gain 3 life if they didn't want to block anyway, which can be detrimental. But this is supposed to be in a deck that needs to like trigger reprise, so you could do things like your Glint and your Singing Steel Blade or Iron Song Response and so on.
It feels like a sideboard card against aggro decks, the ones that don't want to block,
Mm-hmm.
who play a lot of attack.
But use
attack
actions. So like, I mean, Azalea would be a good case. I could rip a pump out and have a wonderful time and get some turn extension,
Ninjas?
and go fish and ninjas, because I assume they play actions. That's right.
Well, here's a way to think about it. Like, let's say they do have a defense reaction in their hand. They have to either choose to play it onto the chain link to like cover your attack and then still lose a card, or they have to discard it. Either way, you won, right?
Yeah.
So read that card for me one more time. I want to make sure I heard you correct.
If you're attacking with a weapon this chain link, the defending hero reveals a card from their hand. If it's an action card, add it to this chain link as a defending card. Otherwise, they discard it.
Oh, so they choose it. So they get to reveal
they
whatever
choose
card.
it. They can reveal whatever. But if they reveal a defense reaction because they want to keep their aggressive hand, then they lose it. They don't get to arsenal that defense reaction, try to stuff you on the next turn with and not trigger reprise with their defense reaction that they kept in arsenal.
I mean, that's true.
I like this card quite a bit. I wish it cost 0. I think this card should have costed 0, but maybe it would have been a little too overtuned at 0.
That's what always scares me is the curve's already so tight on a blue pitch, and like I know they're trying to push toward grains, but I mean I think that there's still a want for the aggressive break chest, but it's tough. The fact that it's blue and it blocks 3 makes it pretty easy to add it in. There's some wasted blue slots. If a Golden Blade's not particularly hot, you can kind of mix it between these two. Does not solve the Enigma matchup in the slightest. But I don't think there's any real way we're gonna solve that.
Yeah, you might find them with just a handful of instants and they just play them in response.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just there's no real way to still generate like a guaranteed reprise. But I think it's fine. I think there's some ways to tech this in. Just kind of have to fish around. Might play some Dory and just throw it around and when this card comes out and see if it really has. I feel like it has any impact. The curve is tough though.
It's a pretty low opportunity cost. It's blue and it blocks 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To get it into the deck isn't the problem. It's the one cost because I want to play Warrior's Valor swing and have enough to swing again. So that's off of 1 blue, and this just messes the math. So Blade Flurry, get over, that's free. A response, get over, that's free.
You know what I really like this with? The axe. Swing the axe, force them to block, trigger any reprise effects that you might want to do, but most of all, they're just, you have the value of the card that you forced them to block with.
This is also really good in response to like they double block from hand with the intent to play from arsenal. Oh. And you just go, hey, that's really cool because you want to keep the 2-card hand, and then you play that in response, and you totally nix the fact that you want to hit again. You just want to rip a card out of their hand.
Overblock too. Yeah. Oh, because then you're almost getting like close to Siren's Call kind of play, right? Or a Pulse Wave Harpoon after you like kind of block to stop a Boom Grenade or something, and then they throw a Pulse Wave Harpoon after you drop to 2 cards.
This is going to be good against Assassin, particularly Azuri too, trying to play Dawnblade into it, because Azuri definitely wants to 2-block play defense reaction from Arsenal and then 2-card hand you, and you pretty much say add the extra card or get rid of it. And then there's no turn. So the turn is Arsenal pass, goes back to you, and you're on 5 cards, and now you're feeling like you get a little bit more momentum, and you don't get that clap back that you usually have to pass back when somebody blocks your Dawnblade out and they 2-card hand you, and you're like, oh, well, here we go again. Because that's how Dory gets edged out on value. Is she needs to keep the full grip, and she's getting 2-card handed by certain decks that are just good at doing that.
Aren't warriors good against assassins anyway?
I mean, for Azuri, most people tech in the Acts, but I think the matchup's gotten so wonky over the time. I don't think Dory's particularly bad in the new than Dawnblade package, because you can't use my blues very well,
and she has no blocks in her deck.
And you have no blocks, and I particularly don't really care what you do. I can stuff you with armor too, which is a lot better than I can on other decks. So there's some good counterplay there, and I could just go off, try and gain counters, and beat you on a dominate turn. And you're going to block because your cards don't usually work. Like again, assassin and warrior speak pretty well to each other. They're both really tricky, but frailty's hurt. Frailty's definitely hurt.
So next card that got spoiled over the weekend.
8 out of 10 at least.
Yeah, I think it's a blue block 3. The next blue block 3 that got spoiled is Roiling Fisher. New Guardian action. I know you want to say it.
I do so bad.
Destroy an aura with cost X or less. Then you may destroy a seismic surge you can control. If you do, repeat this process. Go again. It costs X1. This card I think is quite good. I think I was talking to other Guardian players. They seem to be pretty enthusiastic about it. You do kind of have to build around it, but we already have a good idea that the next Guardian hero will be seismic surge focused because of the Guardian Mastery Pack and what we've been seeing out of that, even though that's still a good ways into the future. There's some pretty funny interactions in Living Legend where you can play an Awakening, make like 20 seismic surges, and then clear as many auras as you want for free, essentially. I think it's a blue block 3 as well. So again, blue block 3s have pretty low opportunity costs to go into the deck, and it's a little bit of a silver bullet, and it doesn't even cost you your action point. What's interesting about this is you could destroy like ALS with this, right? And not lose your turn doing it.
Okay. So is this going to have any kind of impact in CC, or is this mostly targeting Living Legend and the Oldham Prism matchup?
I think
Prism's
it
not
will
really
be
a
a
force right
tech
now.
card into New Prism for Guardians going forward. You don't want to just lose your game to an ALS when they establish a wide board, right? Especially New Prism, where you want to come in and hit big and kill these angels. You're already pretty unfavored anyway. I think it's pretty good into Enigma. They spend a lot to establish their board. You get rid of their bigger threats like 10K and Mirror Guy. These are the ones that are like making it really easy to block Guardian attacks. You very quickly get rid of them, and then you can throw a big attack to try to clear out the smaller ward afterwards.
So
Out of curiosity.
go ahead. I was going to say, I just want to make sure I understand this card correctly. So am I to the point where you can pop your own seismics early and gain the energy or the cost reduction, right, on your own turn?
I just realized that you probably can't do 10K because it's too expensive. But you can do smaller auras. You can do spectral shields and stuff very easily. Let me see what seismic surge actually reads.
Because I went and looked it up. It's at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn.
Yeah, so it's attack action, so you can't like discount it with seismic surge. I was pretty sure you couldn't. But
if you blow up your own seismic surges, because it says you may destroy. If you destroy your own seismic surge, do you generate that resource now on your turn playing?
Oh no, you lose them. You're giving up seismic surges to destroy auras. Man, you probably can't easily do ALS either. That's gonna cost you 7 resources.
Well, it's a may though. It just says destroy an aura with cost X or less, then you may destroy a seismic surge you control. What would be why
no,
would
I'm just
you
thinking
destroy
about
your
the
own
cost
seismic
to
surge?
like destroy some of these auras because they're expensive. ALS costs 6, so you're gonna have to pay 7, which is something Guardians can do occasionally, but it's still pretty tall order, right?
But what benefit would you have of killing your own seismic surges? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
To destroy multiple auras.
Be able to engage with the auras, because Guardians have a really hard time dealing with the board once it's been snowballing.
Yeah. So let's say they have like 10 spectral shields out, right? And you somehow get 10 seismic surges out. You can immediately destroy all 10 spectral shields and swing in.
By just paying 2?
No, you pay 1. Those spectral shields don't have a cost.
Okay, so you just pay 1.
Yeah.
You pay 1 and then keep destroying your. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
you
X
get to
equals 0
repeat
and
the
then pay
1
1.
aura. Okay, I got you.
And then, yep. You can just go down the line.
And,
It also lets you kill all those pesky blue auras illusionists like to play, right? Pierce Reality, Passing Mirage. Oh, especially Passing Mirage. If a Guardian can come in and destroy 3 Passing Mirages with 1 card, he'll just be ecstatic.
That feels pretty good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of note, though, I just had to look it up to make sure. The Figments are not auras.
Nope.
No.
The Angels, I mean, before they transform, the Figments, they are not auras. So they are safe from Roiling Fissure.
That would be busted.
Yeah, it'd almost be like a card nixing an entire class, because the new Prism is basically revolves around the Angels. Okay, the next card, this one I found really confusing. I'm not completely sold on it. A lot of people are kind of pumped just because it seems really cool, and that's Chain Reaction. It is a yellow 0-cost Ranger defense reaction trap. Blocks 3. You may defend and attack it. When this defends and attack with go again, you may turn a non-attack action card in your arsenal face up. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. This card is absolutely bizarre. I can only think of 2 applications.
Card is weird.
Okay. First application. You have Tunic counter. You have a 3 of a kind in arsenal. You defend with Chain Reaction. You use your Tunic counter. You play 3 of a kind on your opponent's turn, draw 3 cards. Then you go into your next turn with 3 extra cards, and without the restriction of 3 of a kind, because you did it on the opponent's turn.
I've heard about that.
Specifically with Riptide, you could play Chain Reaction from hand, put 3 of a kind into arsenal with his hero power, and then flip it up. And then you could have the 1 resource, because if you had anything in your arsenal before, you could trench that out for a resource. And that's not terrible. It's less equity than just using Tunic counter, clearly, but it's still okay. And then the other one that I thought of is playing Plan for the Worst on your opponent's turn, which I think might be the best application of it, because it's like a little bit combo-y to try to get 3 of a kind. But if you Plan for the Worst, you can look at your opponent's hand, and then on their turn, you have the effect of destroying their arsenal, right?
Would it really be spoiler season? Would it really be a new set if we didn't have a confusing Riptide card?
Dude. It's true. Man, this card is so weird.
I think the 3-oak play is actually kind of crazy, though.
It's crazy with Tunic. Like, it's kind of wild, right?
Wait, don't...
I mean, even without Tunic, you still Tunic it away, or you still pitch to it, and you play the 3-oak, and you have extra cards to block on the next attack. I mean, if
you don't draw additional defense reactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something to consider. If you play 3-oak and draw defense reactions, those are stuck in your hand. You cannot play them. I do like the idea, because Tunic isn't a bad choice in Riptide. It's okay, because his games tend to go long. You get a lot of value off the Tunic. You have to be much more careful with what you put in your arsenal, but putting a 3-oak in your arsenal is honestly not a bad idea. Like, it's fine. This is like specifically like with Barb Castaway and stuff.
Can't you just run Trench and play the trap out of hand, and in response trench your card out of arsenal? Since you played the trap, you reload with Riptide, put the 3-oak back in after you trench, and play the trench resource on the 3-oak.
Yes, but you still lost a card, so it's not as high equity as Tunic, right?
But it's more consistent than waiting on a Tunic counter, because you can just trench a card out.
If your like value potential that you're looking for with Riptide is trying to recover with these 3-oak plays, you'd probably play very defensively, and you put the 3-oak in the arsenal, and then you play defensively until you get the Chain Reaction, and then try to have a big turn to catch up on value. And I don't know, it's something I'll have to play test. It doesn't seem terribly great, but I'm trying to stretch for ideas on how to use this extremely strange card.
You play the 1 card that gives all arrows go again for the turn, when you've got, like, because then you could really play a bunch of 3 of a kinds. Then you just start.
There's weird stuff that you could do on the next turn, like try shot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're cooking.
There are weirder cards that we got spoiled. There's Spur Locked. This is Brody Spurlock's card that he got to design because he won the celebrational event. The card literally has his face on it, and they did a perfect job embodying him. He looks fantastic. I almost hope he cosplays this. Like, it'd just be so perfect. Spurlocked is a chaos action, meaning for now it's exclusively for the new Arachne and young Arachne that we've gotten spoiled. It's a blue block 3 0 cost. Each hero secretly chooses a number between 1 and 6. Then those numbers are revealed. The hero that chose the highest number loses that much life, searches their deck for a card with cost less than or equal to the chosen number, reveals it, puts it into their hand, then shuffles. Go again.
There's a magic card that does a very similar thing.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what the name of that is.
This is basically like a magic card. However, like, so, and I guess I kind of want to maybe like wrap up the episode talking about this card a little bit. Like, I play this card against you, Donnie. What do you do?
Honestly, I probably bid one. Just let you have it. Just not even worry about taking that much damage.
You let me just have the card of my choice, or you just say if I choose 0, you pay 1 life to get a card of your choice.
Basically,
true. What do you do?
Between 1 and 6, so you can't choose 0. You have to choose something between 1 and 6.
Oh yeah, 1 and 6.
I mean, to be quite fair, I mean,
I guess it depends on what point in the game you play it.
That's a good point.
That's a good point too. I was gonna say it depends on what deck you're playing.
But in general, I play this card against you, Noah. What number are you saying?
3.
3? You just cut down the middle?
Yeah, I mean, because if you're gonna pay 4 for it, I'm never gonna play a deck that's run something that's gonna need to go to 6. So I'm effectively wasting value to go pick the perfect card.
I mean, if you win, you get to draw a card, your best card, for free. You just pay some life for it.
Whatever the best card in that situation is. I mean, again, there's a lot of power into that, but you have to ask yourself, you're going to get 6 points of value on that.
But if Arachne says 6 and then you say 6, then the card just goes away, and the Arachne played a 1 card nothing. That's something to consider. If you tie with the Arachne, they wasted a card.
Okay, but what about heroes that care about pitch stacking? And if the Arachne just says 1 and anything you say above 1 is going to force you to shuffle your deck.
I guess that's true.
Mind gaming. That's really mind gaming, dude.
This is a cool card.
It is a cool card, but I find it a little low powered, because if you have to play it when your opponent is scared to lose that much life. If you play it and your opponent's at 40, they're going to go, I'm just going to call 6, and you can call whatever you want. If you call a low number, I'm going to get an extra card for free. If you call 6 because you really wanted to get your extra card, it's just, you're going to get a 1 card nothing.
So if you're playing this, you're playing as Arachne. So most likely you get what X?
There's so many things you can do here.
Reaction?
Like, you play it at the start of the turn, you might go grab an attack reaction. You play it at the end of the turn, you might turn it into a codex, right?
Do you reveal the card you grabbed?
Yes, you have to reveal it because cost matters. So you have to prove that you got something of the appropriate cost.
Hold on a second. Read it one more time.
Each hero secretly chooses a number between 1 and 6. Then those numbers are revealed. The hero that chose the highest number loses that much life, searches their deck for a card with a cost less than or equal to the chosen number, reveals it, puts it into their hand, and then shuffles. Go again.
Okay. Says reveal it. Oh well.
Yeah,
this is gonna cause people to have to write it down too. You can't do this verbally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so they already talked about there will be like this, and we've already talked about this when he talked about the card to begin with, way back during the celebrational, that this is going to create some headache when this card is played.
Yeah,
the one thing that I complained about, they fixed though. It's not generic. We don't have to worry about every class possibly playing this card.
It fits with the chaos theme right now, though. That random identity. So I'm glad that there's a 1 out of 6 rolling, and then there's a 1 out of 6 kind of pick. It doesn't feel bad. So it's Arachne, whoever Arachne's playing against, which I think is totally fine. I think it's good. I mean, I think it's a mind game, and I think it creates some fun and some interactions that may not be there.
I think it's really interesting that it's a chaos action, by the way. Not a chaos assassin action.
Right.
I mean,
So
there's
that means we're
plenty
gonna get
of
other
Mystic
Chaos Heroes
I mean,
eventually.
well, yeah.
Chaos
some
meaning
point.
manipulating dice rolls. Oh my lord, Chaos Brute's coming
Chaos
back.
Chaos Brute.
Oh,
Here,
yes,
oh,
Bonehead
baby,
Barrier?
That's
One
gonna be a
card
thing.
for that
Barrier.
6?
Oh, man. I'm
It's
telling you,
wild.
guys, buy those bonehead barriers right now. I'm going after this episode. At least 100 of them. I'll have them on that wall back there. I'll have the bonehead.
Framed?
I'll have the
Okay.
bonehead barrier.
Okay, it does give me one more thought that I kind of want to feel out. Have you
Shoot.
guys has LSS said anything about a second celebrational? Like, is anybody else going to have the opportunity to win the celebrational and create another card like this? Because I haven't
if I
heard
recall
anything about it.
correctly, I think they said this wasn't really something that they were going to do every year. It was too expensive. Because they fly a
Okay.
bunch of content creators and professional players out and foot the bill for a lot of their travels and stuff.
Yeah.
But clearly
I guess
nothing's
in my head, I was
happening.
thinking it was an annual thing.
Yeah, clearly nothing's happening this month or next month. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So it's
maybe
definitely not
it'll
happening
be
2025. So
next year. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I just couldn't remember them saying anything like that, and it's about January of this year that this card actually, or that Brody won this thing. So
Let's just show how long it takes to develop a card. It took almost a year for them to properly develop this and get it into a set.
Because balance, tuning, testing, this is a card that's going to enter and be playable for the foreseeable future. So again,
it was definitely going to be a popular hero.
He is, Brackney is. But the other thing is that I've talked about this a million times, but the big thing to avoid is the Yu-Gi-Oh fiasco, which I think eventually Fab will have to deal with, but it'll figure itself out.
Yeah,
There
we
are
already got
too
some
many
hand
heroes.
traps. Let's just print some more hand traps.
Yeah, there are hand traps. We are a weird hybrid of Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic with a World of Warcraft hero focused center. It's a real medley of all the cardboard games mixed together, because this is super World of Warcraft TCG where you play your hero and have stuff. It's neat. Love the game. Again, I think the class hero identity is single-handedly one of the best designs ever. I just think there are now too many heroes.
To quote Flesh and Pod, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, # no free ads. In James White we trust.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. If anybody can take that masterful set such as Dynasty and reignite the passion for it, it's LSS and James White, which I have a box behind me, and I cannot wait. It's going to get 24-pack parceled out though, so we're going to really milk it, and it will have. Quote me right now on it. It will have Marvel Emperor.
Okay, so 25 days from now, I'm going to be looking at you like, hey.
No, not yet. Not yet. So this is my favorite part. Just so I'm purposely gonna stop my Arcane Rising. I think I might actually finish it out just because I think it's hilarious. There's like 4 packs left, so it'd be really upsetting to just not finish the box out.
Just go crack them in really quick.
I'm gonna do 2. I think I have 4 left. I'm gonna do 2 and 2. And make sure I finish the box before I leave for California. And then I've got some. I bought them like I don't even know how long ago. I had loose packs of heavy hitters and bright lights. I have no idea where they came from. I was just searching. This is how it happens in this. I was like, oh wow, a box I stashed away for forever ago. So when we come back though, it'll be Dynasty for sure.
All right, we got anything else, gentlemen?
No, I'm done. There's
yet.
a lot. I had a great time doing Flesh and Blood this past week.
I did too. It's
All right.
wonderful playing in Armory again.
I agree. I really enjoyed playing it. Noah, where can everybody find you? buddy?
Oh, wait. The Armory Pack. They're going to start doing an Armory Pack at your local armory. It's a gem pack for
Oh
armor.
yeah, the gym pack.
to increase look, it's for
Mixed
us
feelings.
collectors and people that want to gab and yeah, I get it. Now
I
it's
feel
gonna
like we
make
save that for next week.
it's gonna make your
that could be
armory
a whole
more
conversation.
competitive. Okay, anyway, well, simmer on that one. How you feel about your armory being more competitive for one of cards? You can find me at twitch.tv/BigMax, at BigMaxFab on Twitter, and at BigMax on Blue Sky.
Cool. What about you, Thomas?
You can find me at What the System Fab on Twitter, at What the System on Blue Sky, and What the System basically everywhere else.
Yeah, and as far as I go, I am Draco Hominus 87 everywhere social media is sold. You can find me as Donnie K on Card Gamer. My last article was the Aurora budget deck. Next one, I don't know for sure yet because I haven't gotten a suggested list from someone who said they was going to put together something for me.
You
But
you will have it. It's almost done. You will have it before I fly out tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll send it to you.
We'll
I'm gonna be cooking into the wee hours because I don't sleep before a flight. But I was actually thinking about it and piecing it together today and doing more touches on it. You got to keep it right under 100. I want a couple dollar cushion too. So it's been rough trying to fit the last value in.
Yeah, staying under 100 has been a really interesting challenge to try to build these decks. But anyway,
it's one Command and Conquer right now, just so everybody's aware.
All right, so thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Let me tell you what card I would create really quick, okay? I'd create a card that sat right there and said if you got pummeled and you didn't discard your card, that's right, you did discard it, you'd have to discard an extra card. That'd be my card.
And if it's a smack to reality that got pummeled, you just lost all your rune chance.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Discard your cards and read them. They have words on them.